Well, I started in 1942, and my name is Bill Kane, and I started working as an apprentice at MLJ. That was Archie Comics before they started to do Archie. In fact, it was just as they started to do Archie. Bob Montana was there and had just begun the first Archie books, but they had a couple of dazzling artists. They had Irv Novick, who was doing The Shield, and Steel Sterling, and very recently Charlie Byron and a few other people had been there. So they had a strong legacy. Ron, good luck. Anyway, and I went from there to working for Jack Binder, who was an agent and who did a lot of the Captain Marvel sort of material for Fawcett. In fact, he had about 40 artists who worked for him in a series of desks. We were all exchanging those days. They used to count the amount of paper that you would use. And worked, and then went from there to working as an assistant to Jack Kirby, because Jack Kirby and Joe Simon were over at DC and were preparing to go into service. And their arrangement was to turn in a certain amount of work, and they were grinding it out as quickly as possible. And they saw that I could copy and trace what Jack had done, and so they employed me to work on all their strips. Jack used to do the splashes, and Joe would ink the splashes, and I would do these terrible pencils. And but it lasted for about 6 months until first Joe and then Jack went in. And it was at that time I also met one of my idols, Mark Meskin, who was doing the Vigilante and who worked at DC. And in fact, I met a good friend of mine there too, named George Russos, who used to ink Mark Meskin and was just generally a good guy. And worked for different companies until finally I went into the Army. And when I came out of the Army, I worked for Eastman, the company that turned out the first comic book company, Eastman Color, I think that was their name. They turned out Famous Funnies, and they started to do real comics. They started to take over. They, along with Charlie Byron and all the other people, started to do true material, and it was the beginning of the end of the superhero. Superhero didn't last a year after the end of the war. All of this true stuff took over, true crime, true western, true romance didn't start until a little later, but all of it was predicated to a small scale kind of operation as opposed to the kind of wild Jack Kirby-ish sort of material. Jack dominated the field once he came into it. And then by degrees, I finally started working regularly for DC. I worked for them for the first time in 1942, and then in 1947, I worked for Julie, and then Julie rehired me in 1949. And